This is the GIS Evening Report for Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. I am Chrisanne Mitchell. In the headlines, Caribbean Investment Summit in Grenada discusses resilience of CBI sector. We'll have the details to this story and more after the break.
CSI, 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 no! CIS!
Welcome to Grenada, May 22nd to the 25th. Where will you be?
I will be at CIS 2024. Are you still sitting there? Make sure you get up and register for CIS 24 Grenada.
Grenada, the island of spice, and everything in it is nice. And when you think of beauty spots, Grenada really have a lot.
CIS 24, Grenada. See you there.
Welcome back. Agents and stakeholders from the Caribbean, Middle East, Eastern Europe, USA, and Canada who are involved in the Citizenship by Investment program are in Grenada discussing the resilience of the CBI sector. Host Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell and his counterpart from Dominica, Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, as well as other local government officials are looking at the future of the sector at the Radisson Resort under the theme Strengthening the Adaptability and Sustainability of the Caribbean Investment Migration. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell spoke to the importance of investment migration and its financial contribution to the Caribbean economies in which it is undertaken. He says it is important to openly acknowledge that there are some challenges to the CBI program, one being potential security risks.
Our response has been to engage, not in a superficial way, but in a deep and detailed manner. We've started with the United States, we've continued with the Europeans, and we have continued with the United Kingdom. These engagements are first and foremost at the political level. They're also at the respective CIPs or CIU units level, and they're also at the broader industry, financial sector, country, and regional level. So who are the respective stakeholders that have been engaging? In the case of the OECS, starting with our central bank, our prime ministers, our ministers of finance, our heads and CEOs of our respective CIP units. We have engaged with the Treasury Department of the United States. We've engaged with the Home Office of the UK, as well as the visa sections. We've engaged with the respective European commissioners responsible for immigration, responsible for security. And what have been the discussions about? I'd be honest, in the case of Grenada, for example, the fact that Grenada would have been processing Russian applications when I assumed office, and that we continue doing so until we agreed in St. Kitts with the Americans and the rest of our colleagues that we would not do so. And what are the risks associated, particularly for our development partners, with that issue? So we've shared and we've allowed them to see the extent of our due diligence, both the extensive and the intensive nature of it, the breadth, the scope, and we've said to them, we are happy to be transparent, to share and to show you how we go about our due diligence process. And that should you have any concerns with those, that we are happy to address this. And the dialogue is ongoing. We do not intend to retreat. We do not intend to avoid. We intend to engage. We intend to speak. We intend to discuss, and we intend to find solutions that are mutually acceptable to our partners and to ourselves. And the question is why? We believe that all of our development partners have come to accept that the programs play a significant role in attracting direct foreign investment to the region, which otherwise would not be available. And I don't want to say this in a flippant manner. I can use Grenada as an example. Outside of one single hotel that has been built in the last 25 years, every major tourism development in the hotel space in Grenada has been funded via a CBI program. So I want you to understand the context of what I've just said. With the exception of one major hotel, all of the other hotel properties have been funded through the CBI program. So you could therefore imagine Grenada without the hotels that have been funded through the CBI program. We all know what the ravages of COVID-19 did to the tourism industry. And we should appreciate that the Caribbean is one of the most heavily tourist-dependent geographic spaces worldwide. So with no tourism in Barbados, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Antigua, these islands' economy ground to a complete halt. With no economic activity and with the added burden of having to treat with large cross-sections of your population that are unemployed, not working, and that still have to meet the burdens of the excessive or rigorous sanitization and health issues you need to deal with, governments had to find revenue to address those. And to a large extent, in all of the islands with investment migration industries, it is because of the investment migration that they were able to cope, to survive, and to be resilient. Many of the islands are still recovering from the challenges of COVID-19. Without the buffer provided by the investment migration revenues, I shudder to think of the catastrophic consequences that many of these islands would still be laboring under. So we believe genuinely that our development partners understand and appreciate the importance of the programs to the region. And so we are quite genuine in our desire to address any security concerns that they may have, particularly the concerns that persons with passports from our region may attempt to avoid the visa regimes that exist in the UK, in the EU. We are confident that with working with our development partners, that we will be able to address any of the concerns they have. And I'll give an example, and I think we can accept that in some instances, our due diligence processes are actually far more extensive and far more involved than what one may ordinarily require to acquire a Schengen or UK visa. But we also acknowledge that there may be requirements that they have that we have not yet introduced in our due diligence processes. We are quite happy to hear what those are and to incorporate them. We are quite happy to address further use of biometrics in our due diligence process. So that's just an insight into the kind of conversations that we've been having with our development partners so that we can assure them that their security is our security.
One of the concerns with the developing partners in Grenada's case, PM Mitchell says, had to do with the processing of Russian applications when he assumed office in 2022, which the country seized after an agreement was reached during a meeting in St. Kitts.
We've begun to take steps to address this issue as well. We first started with the Americans by ensuring that all 6 of the CIP states signed the MOU with the Treasury Department. We have on our own recently, in February, signed a further memorandum of understanding. We are meeting this afternoon to further operationalize those aspects of the MOU that we've signed. As you're aware, we've given ourselves a June timeline by which to commence the implementation of the various aspects of the MOU that we've agreed to. And we intend to meet that timeline. And I say this because we do not want to have bad actors exploiting any inconsistencies that may exist when it comes to our regional approach to protecting, safeguarding, and making more resilient and sustainable the investment migration space within the region. So the discussions will continue in earnest within the region so that we can present to our citizens, so that we can present to our development partners our united approach to ensuring that we continue to raise the standards, to ensuring that we continue to share information amongst ourselves with our partners to sustain this industry. Transparency. There's a sense oftentimes that the funds generated from CIP programs do not reach the intended targets. I say there's a sense. Whether that is in fact the case is probably debatable. But I can take Grenada as an example. We are extremely transparent and publish openly the receipts associated with our CBI program.
Prime Minister Mitchell added that a major positive of the Grenada CBI program is the rigorous process that applicants must go through once an application has been received.
Particularly, the concerns that persons with passports from our region may attempt to avoid, the visa regimes that exist in the UK, in the EU. We are confident that with working with our development partners, that we will be able to address any of the concerns they have. And I'll give an example, and I think we can accept that in some instances, our due diligence processes are actually far more extensive and far more involved than what one may ordinarily require to acquire a Schengen or UK visa. But we also acknowledge that there may be requirements that they have that we have not yet introduced in our due diligence processes.
He says the 5 countries involved in the program are eager to address security concerns that development partners may have about the process. Global Services Inc. is a platinum sponsor of the Caribbean Investment Summit 2024. Licensed local agent Afivento de Vega speaks to the timeliness and importance of the summit, which she says creates the platform to discuss the importance of the services offered by stakeholders in the investment migration industry to wealthy clients who are interested in a second citizenship for varying reasons. These include mobility, political stability, life changes, and business opportunities. She says one of the main objectives is to determine how, as a region, they can chart the way forward for the sustainability and resilience of the CBI program in terms of longevity and being able to adjust and adapt.
The reality is that the program has been an evolving program from its inception. It's a decade long, and we see a shift in the type of clients who are applying. Whereas it would have been focused in one part of the world, applicants came from one part of the world, we're now seeing a global citizenry applying. Transparency in terms of our programs being able to adjust to concerns raised by EU, the US, the UK, and the OECD bodies in terms of their fears about the types of clients we are attracting to these programs and the risks inherent in them. And as our Prime Minister indicated, we are reacting. We are not going to be allowed to be pushed back. We are reacting, we are engaging, and we are actually showing them how resilient we are and how professional and strong these programs are, and the role we play and the lengths we go to ensure that we have the best applicants. And so we would publish our annual revenues. We would invite them in to see our processes, our due diligence processes, our process flow, the products that we sell, and make them a part of it so that they can feel comfortable and to understand why we actually need the revenues and the cash flows and the inflows from the programs.
The VGA also spoke to the positive ratings Grenada received recently for its excellent management of the CBI program.
To be able to plan ahead, to be able to develop sustainable products that will create longevity, sustainability, and to show in reality that the economic gains that we are getting is really for the benefit of Grenadians and Grenada, and to develop Grenada in a holistic manner, to be able to provide products, to be able to provide services to persons who are citizens of Grenada. I am very happy to hear and read the news that Grenada was able to increase by many folds the income and revenue garnered from last year's period, and I know that the funds will be put to good use, and that Grenada and the rest of the Caribbean, once we are able to strengthen the programs, strengthen our products, we will be able to come out on top.
Also attending the summit is Nisha McIntyre of My Solutions Grenada, a registered licensed agent for Grenada Immigration Migration Agency. McIntyre says the presentations made by Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and that of Amrad Arton, President and CEO of Arton Capital, one of the leading marketing agents, was very timely.
Our PM spoke significantly about the role that Grenada has taken in terms of the vigilance of our program, what we have done, how it has impacted the economy, the importance for transparency, not just within the region, but also with our citizenry. It's important that Grenadians know where the money is going. Also, he spoke a lot about strengthening the infrastructure around the programs so that we also reinforce the relationships we have with our allies, the UK, the EU, the US. Because as you know, there has been mounting tensions around how these programs are managed and the ability for them to allow bad actors into these countries. So he stressed the importance of reinforcing, building the capacity of the due diligence entities that we have that help to vet the applicants that are coming into the program. So from the diplomatic side, the government side, I think that was very telling and very timely, and it shows the effort that Grenada is making on that end and the importance for us to actually work to develop the industry. He zeroed in that it is on us to build the resilience of this industry going forward and stressed the importance of the fact that standardization is not a negative, it's a positive. It lifts and elevates the outlook of all of the regional programs and will bring for us maybe better investors. We may have less numbers, but more quality investors who are willing to develop not just themselves, but the region as a whole. I think most telling as well was the suggestion of there being like a global citizen tax that doesn't just benefit the individual countries that has these programs, but also the Caribbean region as a whole. As you know, we're one Caribbean, and usually entry into one gives you access to all. So having a tax like that may be impactful in the fact that it can help develop the region and bring it to a higher level of standard.
Topics presented on day one of the CIS Summit included the innovation imperative for Caribbean CBI resilience, CBI product and process innovations, and meeting the changing needs of the market. Stay with us. We'll be back after this break.
Those who would be visiting Grenada for the first time to truly appreciate that it's a part of paradise. And if they're in the investment migration business, for them to appreciate their role in helping to let the world know that this part of paradise exists. We want it sustained, we want it to be around for generations to come.
So Grenada has done an exceptional job in the regulation of its own program, as the Prime Minister and Brendan touched on. I think nobody should ever complain that we're doing our job well, and I think the due diligence that is done in Grenada is done exceptionally well.
Intention is largely, yes, to showcase the Caribbean programs, and on the 25th, it is our intention to have 3 different options for entertainment. One, of course, being a tour of the various developments.
Rebranding year, it's a 10-year anniversary, so we're going to make it count It's going to be riveting, and I think all of us here are going to be happy to welcome our stakeholders, welcome our agents, welcome our citizens to Grenada. So I would say you're in for a treat.
Grenada has an excellent product, and at this point in time, I just want to welcome home all the investors, all the onlookers, all the marketing agents to CIS 2024 in May.
Welcome back. Honorable Joseph Andel, accompanied by Ambassador Aaron Moses and Foreign Service Officer Garth Walters, is participating in the 27th meeting of the Council for Foreign and Community Relations in Dominica. The meeting, held from May 23rd to 24th, 2024, brings together key diplomatic figures and representatives from across the Caribbean to discuss and strategize on pressing regional and international issues. Minister Andel's attendance at COFCOR underscores Grenada's commitment to active participation in regional diplomacy and collaboration within the Caribbean community CARICOM. The COFCOR meeting serves as a vital platform for member states to engage in high-level discussions on foreign policy coordination, community relations, and collective responses to global challenges. Key topics on the agenda include regional security, economic cooperation, climate change, and strengthening CARICOM's voice on the international stage. Minister Andel expressed his anticipation for productive dialogue and meaningful outcomes from the meeting, emphasizing the importance of unity and cooperation among Caribbean nations. As the COFCOR meeting unfolds, the Grenadian delegation remains committed to advocating for policies and initiatives that benefit not only Grenada, but the wider Caribbean community. The outcomes of these discussions are expected to influence the region's diplomatic direction and enhance collaborative efforts in addressing common challenges. The participation of Honorable Joseph Andel, Ambassador Aaron Moses, and Foreign Service Officer Garth Walters in this significant meeting reflects Grenada's proactive engagement in CARICOM's collective efforts to promote peace, prosperity, and sustainable development across the Caribbean. The National Disaster Management Agency continues to promote a culture of disaster preparedness at all levels of society. More than 30 teachers who also head preschools attended a two-day training exercise to develop and implement hazard-specific plans. The training exercise with the head of the preschools, the brainchild of the Ministry of Education, was facilitated by NADMA at the PWU conference room. Among other topics, the workshop covered hazard identification and analysis, evacuation procedures, and the development of disaster plans. Participants were also exposed to the knowledge and awareness of the importance of personal and school safety, how to identify and reduce risks, respond to incidents that may occur at their schools, and evacuation procedures for different hazards. A culture of safety is important because these institutions are responsible for the lives of small children who may also have special needs. The participants, who described the workshop as extremely timely and a great learning experience, are expected to present a draft disaster plan and a floor plan for the school to the Early Childhood Division. The plans would then be vetted and approved by the National Disaster Management Agency and the Ministry of Education and given to the schools to be implemented. NADMA is convinced that adequate training prepares individuals to make sound decisions to save lives and properties during emergencies. We'll be back after this break.
Climate change is real, bringing hotter days and less rain. Less rain means less water, so it is crucial for all of us to conserve water at home. When washing my fruits and vegetables, I use a bowl of water, and later I reuse it to water my plants. This is how I save water at home. What are you waiting for?
Welcome back. Students from primary and secondary schools were on Thursday recognized by the Grenada Green Group for their outstanding posters designed with an anti-littering theme. The posters were judged by Grenadian artist Nashon Jeremiah using the criterias creativity, relevance, technique, cleanliness, and overall impression. Perrin Johnson, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, expressed gratitude to the Grenada Green Group for its continuous efforts in environmental enhancement and awareness.
And I want to place on record our ministry profound appreciation for the work that you have been doing, and also embracing the ministry also in terms of providing information as it relates to care for the environment. And we are extremely happy that you have taken this initiative to the schools through the poster competition.
P.S. Johnson says the posters will be exhibited at medical facilities and other areas as a reminder of the health hazards associated with littering.
Clearly, what we have seen around here is excellent work by the young persons at both the primary and the secondary school. So I want us to give all of the participants a lusty round of applause, because I think they have done a tremendous good job. And we want to applaud you for what you have done in bringing the awareness of care for the environment, not only at the school level, but also throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And I want to assure you that these lovely posters would not be kept in the cupboards. We will use them as part of our promotion through our National Adaptation Plan, through our
Ian Blakey, Secretary of the Grenada Green Group, thanks the government of Grenada for recognizing their efforts.
Could I just echo heartfelt thanks to the ministry and its representatives for hosting this occasion. I am somewhat in awe that we're in the seat of government today, and that you see this as important enough, which you seem to indicate in your comments, to host as an event. And I think that gives you folk the impression that you have actually done something quite significant and important that matters.
Blakey told the students that they too have an important role to play and can also bring awareness to others.
I don't see you as our future, I see you as our present. You are current citizens of Grenada as much as any adult, and you have a right to a non-poisoned planet. You have a right to inherit something that our generation has spoilt because we didn't know better. And you have a right, just as much as an adult does, to say, don't drop that, pick that up. This is my backyard, because the whole island is our backyard. It's not somebody else's. And you've taken a first step.
First place winners were Donella St. Bernard, a 6th grade student at St. Paul's Government School, and Jamia Lewis, a Form 3 student at St. Joseph's Convent, St. George's.
I did a poster, and my idea was to showcase how disgusting it could be if we litter and we don't decide to clean and pick up the garbage to keep our environment, healthy. It feels wonderful to be the winner of the primary school, and I hope to get more achievements like this.
So I'm grateful to win the competition and and also the inspiration was the theme which was given about it would be kind of ironic that since it's plastic that's polluting the oceans and everywhere, I thought it would be kind of ironic to put a plastic bottle littering plastic onto the earth.
That story brings us to the end of the GIS Evening Report for Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. I am Chris Mitchell saying thank you for joining us.